Hello and welcome to Next Week Today in St. Thomas Elgin. I'm your host, Kate Burns-Gallagher. Welcome to downtown St. Thomas and the Nook. We are so pleased to be here, and joining us first up are the co-owners of the Nook here, Lisa Peacock and Joanne Hart. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
So I am really excited to be here. This is a beautiful space in downtown St. Thomas that many people have used, and I've had the pleasure of coming to a couple of meetings in. When did you get started and how did you get started?
So we started in 2018. We got started because Lisa, as a photographer, was always looking for some studio space within town. And I, as a hairdresser, was always thinking like, am I going to go out on my own? Am I going to kind of do my own thing? So we kind of got together and thought it would be a great idea to do the Nook together. Not only could we host studio space for Lisa, but as a hairdresser, I was always looking for space to go for morning of wedding prep. So usually I was always in somebody's kitchen or a cramped hotel room or even a busy salon. So I was always looking for a larger space. So that kind of tied into what the Nook ended up being for us. And then we thought, how else can we expand that further? And that's kind of how the larger living room area came about.
Fantastic. And so we are in the living room area of the Nook. And what kind of events do you host in this space?
I would say our most popular events would be showers, whether it's bridal or baby, as well as birthday parties. We host a lot of first birthday parties here with the most adorable little themes, and micro weddings.
Yeah.
Oh, and tell us about micro weddings. I've heard about them and they're on the rise, I think, eh?
Yeah, especially since COVID, I feel like people have just been looking for something kind of on a smaller scale to celebrate without necessarily eloping at City Hall. So with our package, we partnered up with an officiant because we had some people who used the space to do their own thing, like their own little ceremony or reception. So we thought that's a great idea. And then we partnered with an officiant and decided to put together like a package of local vendors. So it's kind of a one-stop shop. So I do the photography, she does the hair, we have a makeup artist, we have a florist, Harris Flower Farm, and then we have the officiant, and then of course the space. So it's kind of a one-stop shop. It's nice for people who don't want to necessarily elope and sacrifice things that might be important to them, such as getting ready and having those special photos and their loved ones there with them as well. So we've been doing quite a few of those.
That's incredible. And the bonus is you're only a couple doors away from City Hall too, right? If you want to do the City Hall and then have a party after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. So you mentioned 2018 you started, and then 2 years after you opened, COVID happened. How did that affect the business?
I mean, it was tough being a rental space during that time when you can't gather with people. At one point you could have 10 people, 25 people, so it was quite limited, so it wasn't the best, but we did survive, we made it through, and luckily once we were able to open up our doors with no restrictions, everyone was kind of eager to gather again, and people were still getting married and stuff, so people definitely were looking to do those showers and get people together, so it was nice to have that space to offer them.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly that came back and everybody just wanted to be together and have events again, hey?
Yeah.
So apart from the micro weddings, you host a lot of different functions. What are those functions that people can rent the facility for?
Well, like she said, like showers and birthday parties are definitely the most popular, but it is also booked for meetings, workshops. We also do pop-up shops in this space. It's very versatile, so honestly, anything you need a space for, I mean, you can host here.
Yep, we've had therapists come in, or even just if they need like a meeting space, a private meeting space to conduct like meetings or group sessions or stuff like that. We've had yoga.
Yeah, book clubs. Like honestly, just like any place that you just want to have a gathering of people that's not necessarily in your own home, but still cozy and comfortable.
Oh, that's awesome. Book club is such a great idea.
Yes.
Our book club has gotten a little big, so I have to keep that in the back of my mind for our book club. That's awesome. So you're also huge advocates for the community and being involved downtown. When we were on the Pumpkin Prowl, we saw you. And then Light Up Talbot's coming up. Tell us a little bit about your involvement there.
Yeah, we've been pretty lucky to be part of Light Up Talbot for 2 years now. This is going to be the second annual event. We've kind of joined forces with the tree lighting that has always happened at City Hall. Not only is it the tree lighting, but every store decorates their front windows. We have a horse-drawn carriage, 2 this year, going up and down Talbot so everybody can kind of get a ride. We have
The warming stations.
warming stations. This year there's going to be more entertainment downtown, pop-up shop, which we're hosting here at the Nook. And it's just really fun community event to be able to be part of.
That's incredible. I can't wait to see the horse and carriage.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. And when is Light Up Talbot happening?
It is November 15th from
Friday.
5 to 9.
Oh, incredible. Great. And for more information on Light Up Talbot, where can people go?
Facebook. We have a Facebook group, and we also have a website, lightuptalbot.weebly.com.
Fantastic. Now, if people are looking to rent the Nook, use the space, what's the max capacity and how can they do that?
We say up to 50 people is most comfortable. It definitely can hold more than that, but just without being too cramped, we say up to 50. We have our website, we have social media. The best way to get through to us is email, which you can email us directly, or just right off of our contact us page on our website.
Incredible. Well, thanks so much for hosting us here at the Nook. We are so pleased to be here and telling us a little bit about your story.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back on Next Week Today in St. Thomas, Elgin with CEO and President of United Way Elgin Middlesex, Kelly Ziegner. And we're back on Next Week Today in St. Thomas, Elgin. We're now joined by President and CEO of United Way Elgin Middlesex, Kelly Ziegner. Welcome to the show, Kelly.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. So tell us a little bit about your journey in becoming the President and CEO of United Way Elgin Middlesex.
So United Way Elgin Middlesex has been a merged United Way since 2016, and that was right after I started. I like to joke that I made that happen, but it was volunteers on our boards of directors that did the hard lifting there for a couple of years to get our 2 United Ways merged. So there was United Way London Middlesex and then Elgin St. Thomas. And we came together because we really believed that we would be better together. And I can say a few years after the fact now that that's definitely true. So on one side, the smaller United Way here in St. Thomas, Elgin, benefited from a larger, more sophisticated organization. So particularly in today's digital age, like having all of those tools that are necessary. But I think organizationally where we really benefited as well was getting to know our smaller and rural communities better. We had been London and Middlesex for many, many years, but I would say we were still pretty London-centric, and that merger really facilitated us coming together and really learning about those smaller communities. And I think a big part of that was the entire board from Elgin St. Thomas joined into our board, so that voice was never lost.
That's incredible. And I was honored to be on the board of directors for several years as the St. Thomas and Elgin rep, and saw the great change in the dedication to small and rural.
Yeah.
And this year, there's a few really cool projects that are happening outside of the London area.
That's right. So we fund across the region over 40 programs and services in Elgin, St. Thomas, Middlesex, London region. And further to that desire to really get ourselves closer to those rural communities, we're working with 2 regions, one in Elgin County, one in Middlesex County, so Elmer here in Elgin County, and then Strathroy, Middlesex County. And we're doing a needs assessment, so we brought together a cabinet of community volunteers to say, what's the most pressing issue that you have here in your community? And so in Elmer, we're hearing loud and clear from that committee, which is comprised of the deputy police chief, city councilors, community members, that services for youth are really lacking in Elmer. So we're putting together a business plan to take to our board and to take back to the community to say, here's what the experts, you and your community, are telling us you need, and how do we make this happen together?
Incredible. And so what will the results of that business plan be, do you think?
Yeah, so I think, what's missing is sort of that drop-in space where youth can connect with each other and connect with, people, who can help with a little bit of like counseling or connecting them to other programs and services in the community. Sort of that drop-in space where, kids just need a place to be. Mm-hmm. And I think in today's day and age, after the pandemic, kids are feeling more isolated than they had been prior, and those challenges with mental health continue to increase. So we feel like that's a really viable option and a smart option to get kids connected to each other and to some safe adult experts.
That's fantastic, especially when you're looking at rural communities, right? Yeah. Where distance is a problem. But the town of Elmer really covers quite a bit of geography in rural Eastern Ontario.
Yeah.
Or Eastern Elgin, I guess.
Eastern Elgin, yeah, it sure does. And there's great stuff happening here in St. Thomas with the Ignite Youth Center and other programs. But if you live in Elmer and you're 14 years old, how do you get yourself to St. Thomas? So really important to have something that's right there in their home community. They can pop in after school and connect with people.
Great. And those 40 plus programs that get funding through the United Way, all that funding comes from campaign.
That's right.
Talk to us about campaign and what that means.
Yeah, as I like to say, it's the most wonderful time of year right now for United Way. We're pretty busy in communities right across the 2 counties. In September, we had our big campaign launch here in St. Thomas at the Railway Museum. We had over 200 people come. Lots of businesses throughout the region who largely we've fundraised through workplace campaigns. So companies will come together, they have employee champions and they organize a fundraising campaign. People give off their payroll through payroll deduction, or they have special events in their workplace. And all told, all of that fundraising is what helps us to invest money right back here in our community. So 100% of what we raise local stays local. So last year that meant we were able to increase our funding in Elgin County by 20% because of the generosity of folks right here in this community.
That's great. So there's giving through your workplace through payroll deduction, which is easy, no brainer.
Yeah.
But if your workplace doesn't have United Way payroll deductions, what are some other ways that you can contribute to the campaign?
Yeah, so we always have lots of events happening. Upcoming, we have our stair climb. Now it is in London at Canada Life Place. I had to get the name right because that's recently changed. So stair climb is a big one. It's an easy way for you to get involved, and it's sort of that model of pledge a friend. So you set up your online fundraising page and you can get going that way. We always take donations through our website, unitedwayem.ca. And there's also lots of ways you can get involved through volunteering and connecting with your community. So no shortage of ways for folks to get involved.
That's great. And there's the leadership level of supporting the organization that I am a big believer in. What's that?
Yeah, so we have what's called leadership giving, and that is where people give $1,200, or we could break it down to $100 a month. And what's really great about that program is if you're a first-time donor, we have a group of really generous donors who've agreed to match that. So you make a $1,200 donation, it actually equals $2,400 for our community because of that group of donors. So that Leadership Challenge grant is really helpful and really important. We also have what we call the High Five program. So that's getting people to be able to give $365 a year, and sort of that dollar a day kind of thing. And that is also, there's a matching grant for that. So lots of ways for people to get involved and to really, double in some cases their giving.
That's incredible. Now, has campaign set a goal for this year in the community?
Yeah, so we are trying to raise about $7 million, and that's throughout the entire region. And that's what we use to invest right back into these communities through the agencies we fund and a lot of the advocacy work that we do. So in addition to those, funding those programs, right at street level where people need the help most, we're also doing a lot of work when it comes to government public policy. So, talking to governments about the needs to increase things like social assistance rates or housing solutions, because we also want to be a part of those long-term solutions that are addressing the root cause. So we really need those social services. That's, sort of the urgent need, but that's, right in the moment, but we also need to be thinking about those longer-term solutions. So we're at the table with decision makers all throughout the region and all 3 levels of government to try and come up with solutions that will benefit communities for the long term.
That's phenomenal. So it's really a 2-pronged approach with the advocacy and then the programming.
That's right. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I like to use this a little bit of an analogy to say, our sort of downstream impact is what we see on city streets every day, right? That's, folks who are living unhoused, having a hard time making ends meet. And the upstream solution is some of those policy things.
Incredible. Now, if people are interested in donating or attending TD Stair Climb or any of the other events, how do they find out more information?
Yeah, so visit our website, unitedwayem.ca, or any of our social accounts. We're on Instagram, X, Facebook, all of those things. Give us a look, you see what's going on in your local community, and get involved.
Great. And is there an opportunity too to get involved with the various committees and work that United Way does, if you want to give your time?
Yeah, absolutely. So every year we recruit for our campaign cabinet. A really challenging volunteer job, which I know you've been involved with, was our allocations committee. So that is a panel of folks from across the region who come together, who decide where the funding goes. So I know you've agonized over those decisions before. It's probably our most challenging volunteer role, because all of those grant applications that come in are worthy, but there really is only limited funds. And so the last time we went through our granting process, the ratio was 3 to 1. So for every dollar we had to grant, we had $3 extra in requests. So that speaks a little bit to what the need is that we're seeing across the region.
Yeah, that's tough. But having those people around that table to provide their insight and guidance is so big for all those programs.
Yeah, it's really important. So we'll have like folks that work, in accounting, and so they're looking at the numbers, and then you'll have folks that work in the community or healthcare settings, and they know the human side of the story, and so that expertise comes together, and they're able to make some really qualified decisions.
Great. So UnitedWayEM.ca is where you can find all the information.
That's right, yeah.
Great. Well, we really appreciate your time today, Kelly, and sharing a little bit more about campaign and the really great project happening in Elmer.
Great, yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. We'll be right back on Next Week Today in St. Thomas Elgin to learn all things Santa Claus Parade. And we're back on Next Week Today in St. Thomas Elgin. We're now joined by Al Holt, Parade Chair of the Santa Claus Parade this year, and Earl Taylor, Media Relations Extraordinaire. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
You bet. So let's talk all things Santa Claus Parade. What is the date? What are the details for this year for 2024?
Okay, so this year's parade is Saturday, November 23rd, starting at 6 p.m. Same as last year, our parade will begin at Talbot First, progress down Talbot Street, and end at Elgin Street at the other and west end of town. Should be about 50 minutes in length. And we're hoping to have 50 plus floats, 3 bands, dignitaries. Our Grand Marshal this year is Emma Renke, our St. Thomas Paralympian that went to Paris, and I believe they won gold in goalball. So we're excited to have her as our parade marshal this year. We have 3 bands. We have the St. Thomas Police Association Pipe Band. We have the University of Western Ontario Marching Band with us again this year. And we're pleased to welcome back the Burlington Teen Tour Band, award-winning great band out of Burlington. They'll be joining us this year. So yeah, we're excited about the parade this year.
So what's the theme this year that the floats will be following?
Great theme. I'll tell you, we have trouble trying to pick a theme every year. In fact, we're starting to think about what next year's theme is going to be, because that's the hardest part. Christmas at the Circus is the theme this year. So we're hoping that the floats, the entries will have some elephants and some giraffes and some monkeys and things like that. And some of the floats that are sending in their applications, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
I love the sound of that. That's great.
We were unsure. I really wasn't sure how people are going to react, but it's looking positive. They're being very creative.
Great.
Hopefully.
Well, and I know last year's parade was phenomenal, and so many community participants. Who's already registered for the parade?
We've got, like Al was saying, we hope to get maybe 50 to 60 entries. We've got 38 signed up already. And believe it or not, many of them are new. We still have 30 some odd that were in last year's parade haven't signed up just yet. So whether there's going to be a huge surge, we'll wait and see. But we've got the Locks Public School band is coming as well, one of our other bands. But hopefully the schools, that's a matter of getting the teachers and getting the kids involved, will be here as well. But they're mainly local businesses that just want to be involved in our community.
And for this year, will there be donations that people coming to watch the parade should bring with them?
Absolutely. As in past years, the St. Thomas Fires Association will be collecting canned goods, non-perishables, and monetary. I think they'll be carrying their boots like they do for the boot drives. They'll do that, and so we collect, like I said, canned goods, non-perishable foods to go to the local food bank. And at the end, of course, the Postal Service workers will be following along just in front of Santa Claus, collecting kids' letters to Santa. So kids have any letters that they want to get to Santa, they can bring them, and we'll take them during the parade too.
That's wonderful.
You can too. You can bring a
Yeah.
letter. Yeah.
I
Adults
can write my
too.
letter.
Oh,
Okay,
absolutely.
good. Because I
Absolutely.
swear I've been really good this year. I promise.
Santa knows.
He really does.
Yes.
Okay, you should mention, if you don't mind, our sponsors. So we went out, just
Yes.
asked at the community if somebody would sponsor some of our bands, for example. So Doug Terry Holmes is going to sponsor the Burlington Teen Tour Band. Full tilt on that. So we really thank Doug Terry Holmes for that. And then Stacked Pancake and Breakfast House is going to sponsor the Police Association band, and the St. Thomas Downtown Development Board is sponsoring the University of Western Ontario Mustangs band. So some great sponsors that have come on. Plus St. Thomas Rental pulls which float do they pull?
Santa.
The Santa Claus float. So St. Thomas Rental is one of our sponsors as well. And then some of the local Disbro is sponsoring a car, putting in a car for Emma as our parade marshal, things like that, if she wants to ride. But I think she's going to walk. So,
Oh, that's
We've been
incredible.
told.
yeah.
Well, it truly takes a community and a village to put an event like the Santa Claus Parade on. And the Optimist Club has been doing this for how many
38
years?
years.
Years, 38 years.
38 years.
We believe.
We-
We're not 100% sure on that. We're unofficially, we think it's our 38th year. But
Yeah.
That's incredible. And so what's the goal of the Optimist Club, and how can people support the Optimist Club to show their support?
our club is youth-based, so our goal is to support any youth activities in our community. And they can support us by watching for us in the summertime. We'll be out in the community usually starting in June, raising funds through our food trailer, different car show events. We did one out at Pinafore Park, and we do a nostalgia nights with the Downtown Development Board. We did Oktoberfest, so we're out at different community events, usually selling hamburgers and hot dogs, and that's how we raise some of our money. And of course, we also were privileged to be part of the Jackpot City Bingo, and or Jackpot Times, I believe it's called now. But anyhow, we were there, and so a lot of our funding comes from there. But
Yep.
That's incredible.
Good point.
That's great. And I mean, no better way to engage our youth than a Santa Claus parade, that's for sure.
Thousands of people will be showing up. Last year we were three deep along Talbot Street, right from start to finish. So thousands of people praying for good weather.
And how can people find out more information if they're interested in either signing up or participating?
Good point. It's optimistSantaClausParade.ca is our website. That's the place to go, or our Facebook page.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming on, gentlemen, and
Perfect.
dressing to impress as always, Earl. Very much
Always got to
appreciate
have some fun.
Thanks so much. And that's a wrap on our show this time on Next Week Today in St. Thomas Elgin. Make sure to come out and check out the Nook in downtown St. Thomas. Come down for the Santa Claus Parade on November 23rd and support United Way Elgin Middlesex in their campaign to raise funds for the community. We'll see you next time on Next Week Today in St. Thomas Elgin.